In this episode, we're going to continue looking at test doubles. Hi, I'm Mark Bradley and welcome to Testing All the Things, a screencast in which we use live coding to demonstrate different types of testing tools and techniques. In this video, we're going to look at a new type of test double called Spies. Spies allow you to make assertions on what happened to them after the test has run. Let's look at the code. In this video, we're going to continue working on our driving license number generator application. We're going to make use of a new test double type called Spy. Spies are really useful as they allow us to pass in something that implements the interface, and they log calls that are made to them so that we can interrogate what happened to the Spy test double after the code under test has been run. For this application, we're going to create a new logging interface and create a Spy implementation of that interface. We will then use the Spy test double to ensure that logging occurs when we do not generate a license for an applicant. Let's make a start by creating our logger interface. Now I know that Go already has logging functionality built into it, but I thought that this logger that we were going to create was the simplest way to demonstrate Spy test doubles. So we've got a new type, we'll call it logger, interface, and it has a function, log stuff, a string. So we're just going to keep it really simple. V string. There we go. We have a very simple logger interface. We have a log stuff function and it takes a string. That's all we want to do. So now let's create our spy to use during our tests. So if we move over to the test code and we create a new struct, and we want this to implement the logger interface. We want to be able to hold information about what happens to our spy as it's used in our code under test. So we want to know, first of all, how many times it's called. Call count int. And we also want to know the last message. Now, that would be a string. We could set this up so it held all messages, but for our test at the moment, we're only going to have it be given one message at a time, so the last message will do. But we could make this an array of string and hold all messages. So if we add that, now we need to make those changes. So s dot call count gets incremented and s dot last message gets set to v. And that's as simple as our spy is going to be. It tracks how many calls occur for it, and it tracks the last message given to it. So now let's go and start making use of our spy logger. As I said, we're just going to extend the existing functionality we currently have within our application. Our driving license generator, new driving license generator, now needs a logger, which will be a spy logger. Okay. Now pass that in. Added it to the first one. We'll now add it to the second one. So we'll just copy this down. Now it's currently complaining that it's not expecting the argument of the logger. So let's add that to our function here. So L is logger. If we go back to here, Okay. Hang on. There we go. Better. There we go. So we're now passing in our spy logger, and at the moment our new number generator function accepts logger but does nothing with it. So we're just getting to a point where the code will run. Now let's start actually adding our test. So we expected 1, and that's on logger.callCount. Okay. And we s.equal, let's use contains again. Contains, and it's l dot last message. Again, should contain underage. Okay. Now we can run our test. And we have a failure. It's at the underage applicant bit. If we have a look, there we go. We expected the call count to equal 1, but it was actually 0. So let's go and solve this problem. So now we need to hold a logger. So our struct here needs a logger. L, like so. There we are. So this test is for underage applicant. So here. So if we do G generator L log stuff and okay. So that should now give us our log count of 1. And it does. There we go. So we've moved on now to the next error. We've moved here to line 20. It's being called once, but at the moment it's not being given the correct message. So let's give it the correct message. And let's for now just duplicate the message we put into our error. And if we run that, our tests are back to green. So we've now used our spy logger to understand what happened to it during the test run without having to set anything up before we ran the test to say that it will be called once and it will be called with a specific message. So now we've got that test working, let's move on to our no second license test. Again, on the logger, we want the call count to be 1, and we want it to contain a message again. Last message, and this time it will contain duplicate. If we run our tests, and again we get the failure we're expecting. We're expecting it to equal 1, but we actually only got back 0. So again, we can solve the problem in front of us. So we'll go back to the code, and then in here, okay, let's see if that message goes away, and we've solved that one. And we have. So we've solved the fact that it wasn't logging at all, and now we need to solve the fact that we want a specific message within our log. Again, we'll duplicate what we put into the error. Okay. And that all works. And now I'm just going to fix some typos as well while we're here. Okay, and we'll run that. Okay. And that's all I wanted to look at with Spies. They're a really nice tool in the test double belt, giving you a way to look at function calls without having to set anything up before the test runs. Before we finish, let's have a look at what our application currently does. At the moment, for our driving license number generator, it doesn't really do much. It doesn't generate the license yet. That will come in the next video. But at the moment, we handle currently two different types of errors that can occur within generation of a number. The first being that a duplicate license is being requested, and the second is that an underage applicant is requesting a license. Now, we're getting those errors returned and we are logging. And in the next video, we'll look at using mocks to aid us in the generation of the driving license number. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Thanks for joining me. Thank you for watching this episode of Testing All the Things. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please rate and review the video and subscribe to the channel. If you did not and you have any feedback, please leave a comment in the comment section of the video or contact me on Twitter @Bradle.